Alright, well, as Fullerton College students, we are all here for one reason, which is education. We have a lot of us are here for different reasons, but one of the biggest reasons that we're all here is because of the price. Paying $24 a unit for both semesters would be roughly around like $624 if you're taking 12 units. And in comparison to the Cal States and UCs, where you'd be paying, say, like $5,000 on just tuition fees alone, or $1,100 in the UCs, it's pretty obvious why you would want to come here first and get started here before paying those high prices over there. However, sooner or later, all of us are going to have to transfer and start applying to Cal State and CBC, or even private schools. So the pricing that's going on at Cal State Fullerton, or not just Cal State Fullerton, but the Cal States and the UCs, is going to become a problem to us. Last year, the UC schools raised their tuition by 33%, and they're raising it another 8% this fall that's coming up. Sadly, the rising prices are becoming an obstacle for many students that are looking to transfer, and students that are already over at those schools. So today I have come to give you guys information on how to get involved in stopping the tuition increase, and to encourage you to do so. I'll also let you know how much tuition is increasing, why it's increasing, who's making those changes, and what we can do to hopefully be able to stop, or at least have them reduce the increase. So firstly, I'll talk about how much it's increasing. According to neontommy.com, the California University state systems have been increasing their tuition about 76% in the last 5 years. So just within this year, students went from paying $2,151 to paying $4,884, and that's just in tuition alone. That doesn't include books or parking or anything else that they have to pay for. And just this year, they agreed to increase tuition another 5% between the fall and the spring semesters of 2011. And the same is happening in the UC campuses. Just this year for the fall, it was raised 33% and is rising another 8% in the fall quarter of next year. This means that students like my friend Derek, who goes to UCLA, he's a senior over there majoring in history, we were looking at all his bills for his tuition and stuff, and we saw that just between the winter quarter of 2009 and the fall quarter of 2010, he went from paying $2,853 to $3,955, which is and that's just in tuition. It's not including, like I said, all the parking fees or just transportation over there because he commutes. So that's a pretty significant amount that has risen in the last year, and there are very many reasons that of why these tuition increases are happening, and one of the reasons is that the California university systems are not receiving enough funding from the state, and this is because they're having a continuous problem with their budget. According to the Examiner, the fiscal year starts in July 1st, but this year the budget wasn't approved until October, which is why schools have been having to readjust their budgets, and all that cost is coming out of our own pocket that we have to pay with rising tuition. And according to an article in the Washington Post, UC officials said that the fee hike is needed to maintain student enrollment, courses, and services to offset unprecedented cuts in state funding that have led to faculty furloughs, course cutbacks, and enrollment reduction at the 10 campus systems. So now I'm going to talk about who's making those tuition increases. Because of the effect that increasing tuition has on students, it's important to know who are the people that are making these decisions. As stated in many of the articles I read, the people in charge of the rising tuition prices in the UC school systems are the UC regents, and at universityofcalifornia.com, it says that the University of California is governed by the regents. It's a 26-member board, and that's established under an article in the California Constitution. The regents meet 6 times a year, and 6 times a year every other month for 2-day meetings. And in these meetings, they decide stuff like the budget and how much tuition is going to be, and educational policies, health services, and among other things that they're doing. And the Cal State system has a similar board called the Board of Trustees, and the Board of Trustees is made up of 25 members, and one of the members is a voting member. And then in the California State system, the Board of Trustees, they develop broad administrative policies for the campuses, providing broad direction and coordination to campus curricular development, and they oversee efficient management of funds, property, facilities, and investments by the system and campuses, among other things. And that was all from the California, or calstate.edu. And the most important part is how it affects us. The tuition increase greatly affects every student that's pursuing a higher education. Although right now we're paying a reasonable fee for our education, like I said, many of us are going to have to transfer soon, and those problems of tuition increases are going to become a burden on us. University systems, although they're increasing their tuition, the quality of the education isn't going up like the tuition is. The classes have been cut. The Cal State systems, they have furlough days, so the days of instructions are less, but the amount of information you get is still the same. So these problems become a burden to many students. Another friend of mine that goes to UCLA, the increasing tuition went up so much that she had to take quarters off and had to come to Fullerton College and take a semester here to make up, because she couldn't afford to go to the UCLA anymore. And this is especially going to be a burden for students that don't qualify for enough financial aid. Students like myself and other students that can rely only on scholarships. So and another major problem is that the tuition increases are discouraging students from even wanting to pursue a higher education, or holding it off until they can pay for it. So what we can do as community college students, we can't look at this as an issue for somebody else, because we're going to have to join in on that issue as well soon. And things you can do, you can talk to or try to write letters to the UC Regents or the Cal State, the Board of Trustees, and just let them know that basically your story, that the tuition increases are like hurting you and making you have to work more instead of putting more attention on your studies. So you can also join into like rallies or actions that student organizations are involved with to try to talk to the UC Regents as well. And just keeping yourself informed on everything that's going on with the financial stuff that's going on with schools. So as you can see, there's a lot of conflict with continuing increases of tuition, and eventually this is going to hurt us as much as it's hurting the students that are already there. And hopefully now you understand a little bit more, and that you decide to get more involved in it. Thank you.
So Chelsea, what did you think?
I thought it was a good topic because we're all able to relate to it. I know that some of us probably just applied to the Cal State and UC for transfer, so that information is really interesting. I liked hearing it. Your note cards are a little big, so they were kind of distracting. And you had great eye contact in the beginning. You were looking at us and hand gestures, but once you got to your points, it was kind of like you were reading more. I liked your statistics. There were a lot of them, and that was great. And I liked your conclusion about what we could do to stop the tuition increases. And overall, I liked it.
All right. I thought that the opening does attempt to connect with the audience. I thought that's pretty reasonable, and you had some good statistics to bring us in on that. You have a very clear statement of what your goal is and a solid preview of the structure. You stick to that structure, so the organizational stuff is good. On content issues, you know what? I gotta stop.